Yeah. Do I sound? I want to sound better than he does. Do I sound or at least as good?
Counter to intelligence.
Welcome to Counter to Intelligence. I am Ken the Bunker. With me is
Tom the debunker. We are the opposite of intelligence. We are counter to it.
exactly, at least Tom is. So this week we're gonna look into the Smiley Face Killers, which I'm not that I'm a big fan of serial killers, but I like unsolved mysteries. Because I was gonna say I'm a big fan of the Smiley Face Killers, which sounds really bad.
It's bad.
But I'm not. I'm not a fan of the smile. I'm just a fan of the theory and the idea that there's this crazy unsolved thing and something going on.
But tonight we're gonna solve it.
Yeah.
That's what we're promising at the beginning.
Yeah. And like we're gonna bring someone in, rip the and like says like it was really so and so, and he's
Right.
gonna I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for these darn middle-aged men. Because he can't say those darn kids.
That's right. Yeah. But the actual person who did it is in the back.
Yeah, he's waiting to
He's
come
just
on.
waiting. Yeah,
So.
to reveal himself
To
or
the world.
herself. I don't know.
Yeah.
We can't tell you what it's gonna be.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know yet. And so we're looking at the Smiley Face Killers theory. Now,
Yes.
I'm going to go over the idea of what it is. And I've been like kind of following this for a long time because I just think it's wild. And it's if it's true, it's pretty scary.
It is.
And it's just a weird theory. So basically, the Smiley Face Killers theory is one of the most enduring, polarizing, and virtual true crime conspiracies in the United States. It's been around for 30 years.
30 years. That's a long
And
time.
It's kind of like folklore-ish almost. So here's the comprehensive look at it. So it was actually proposed back in the early 2000s by two detectives, Kevin Gannon and Anthony Durante, alongside Dr. Lee Gilbertson, who was a criminal justice professor. So these are like just not some rando people. They're, actual detectives and a criminal justice. And basically their idea was that dozens of college-aged men found dead in waterways across the Midwest and Northeast from the 1990s through today were not victims of accidental drowning as it was ruled, but were instead targeted by an organized network of serial killers.
It's not good. We don't want that.
So basically, it's all the idea is they're all young college-age men between 19 and 25. They're described as popular, athletic, and high-achieving students. So they're not slouches. Every single one of them were seen alive at a bar, a party, or some kind of place, and they had been heavily drinking. And then they disappeared at night, only to be found weeks or months later in nearby rivers, lakes, or lake shores.
So water. They're always in water.
They're always found in water, but it's like weeks later.
Yeah.
And basically, the detective claimed that at least a dozen of the cases, there was a graffiti depicting a smiley face was painted on a nearby structure, the bridge, piers, docks, or walls, near where they found the bodies, or where they thought the bodies were dumped. Gannon and Durante theorized that a highly sophisticated mobile gang of killers was drugging these men with substances, abducting them, torturing them, and dumping their bodies into water to wash away forensic evidence, leaving the graffiti as a taunt to law enforcement, which law enforcement didn't even care about.
They didn't even notice it
until
for
these
a long
two.
time.
Yeah. Now,
So shame on you, Smiley Face Killers. You didn't get attention very much for your bad deeds.
yeah, but these three guys are giving them attention, and
They
we
are.
are too.
Yeah, we are too. We and those three guys. There's 5 of us.
Now, the most notable cases are Patrick McNeill of New York, Chris Jenkins of Minneapolis, and Josh Gumond of Minnesota. There's been a resurgence of this during 2023 and 2026. More people have shown up. some people believe that two cities have become focal points of these in Austin, Texas, and Chicago, Illinois. They have a group called the Rainy Street Ripper or Lady Bird Lake. Recently, there's been people been found, and they think it's of the same ilk. And same thing at the Chicago River and Lake Michigan, in Illinois. So the law enforcement rejects it, saying no, there's no way that's happening. But you could see that why they would say that, because that makes them look like they're really bad at their job.
Right.
Of course they're not going to be like, oh yeah, it's probably happening. They're going, that's not real, because if it was real, this guy's been doing it 30 years and we suck at our job.
Yeah, we're not catching them.
Yeah. But I mean, there's been other serial killers that have gone for many, many years. I was at the BTS guy for a long time. He would go dormant, and then there's been serial killers that were never caught, like
That's scary.
The Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
Although they think they know who he is now. Most famous one, Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Although they now think they have, through DNA, figured out who he is, but that was over 100 years before they figured it out. So it's not uncommon to have a serial killer go that long. Now, I could go over the individual cases.
Let's do it, because I like some details on these.
Okay, well, the first one is Patrick McNeill, and happened in the 1990s. And here's the case. He was 21-year-old from Fordham University, and he vanished after a night out at a bar in Manhattan. His body was found nearly 2 months later in the East River near Ray Bridge, Brooklyn. They think this is patient zero of the theory. So Kevin Gannon was the original supervisor on the case. So he's one of the he found his case. He noticed the body's positioning and floating pattern seemed inconsistent with the standard East River current, convincing him McNeill had been held on land before being placed in the water.
Gotcha.
So they're like, where his body ended up, it should not have. And I remember seeing some shows where he talked about the way the current goes. If he fell in and drowned, his body would have ended up 100 yards on the opposite side of the river, but he ended up here.
So he went the wrong way.
Yeah. So then Chris Jenkins was another one a couple years later. He was 21-year-old, lacrosse captain. He disappeared on Halloween night after being kicked out of a bar. His body was found 4 months later in the Mississippi River. Now, it was originally ruled an accidental drowning. Jenkins' parents fought tirelessly for deeper investigation. In 2006, the police took the rare step of changing his death ruling to homicide, citing new forensic evidence, though no suspect was ever found. So that's one that the
they
police
suspected that from the beginning.
Well, the first they said it was an accident, then the police said no, it is a homicide, but they
couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, it's now been 24 years later. Next, same year, was Joshua Goumond. He went to St. John's University, and he vanished after leaving a card game at an on-campus apartment late at night. Despite massive searches, his body was never recovered.
So they didn't find him in the water.
Yeah, he's just gone.
Yeah.
Now, because his disappearance happened, sorry, I've been drinking water, just happened weeks after Chris Jenkins vanished, only an hour away. The cases became linked, and so they believe it's the same people.
Yeah.
Just because it's interesting, it's same year and it's hours apart. The next one is here. Lucas Homan of La Crosse, Wisconsin. So this guy, he was also, this was a couple years later, former basketball player, disappeared after celebrating Oktoberfest in La Crosse. His body was found 3 days later in the Mississippi River. They just looked at this one. I believe this is, he's saying that his forehead There was contusions on his forehead, consisting with being held down by a boot before entering the water.
Oh, okay.
So like they drowned him, but they held him down.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't need a gesture. People can figure it out.
People know, but yeah, that was helpful.
Yeah, I know you're a visual learner.
Right. Oh,
So,
yeah. Absolutely.
like later, we're going to reenact some of these in my pool in the backyard. You and I. I'm going to show you.
Oh, you revealed it. You revealed what's behind the curtain, or did he?
Yeah, I didn't. Is that my backyard?
I don't know if
Yeah,
where
it's
that
at-
is. We could be live from New York.
Yeah,
But maybe
it's not Saturday night.
Yeah.
But so the next is Todd Gieb of Michigan. He went missing after attending an outdoor orchard party. So he went to an orchard party.
What is that
I have
even?
no idea. I'm having fun with apples and stuff. He was found 21 days later floating vertically in a private stock pond.
Well, at least it wasn't a public one.
Yeah.
A little more privacy.
Yeah. So, but the floating position of body weeks after disappearing, combined with the minimal decomposition and lack of water in his lungs, they believed he was killed and dumped in. So he didn't drown.
Yeah.
So that's another one. That's okay. He didn't really drown. Next was Tommy Booth, 3 years later. He's from Pennsylvania. He's 24. He vanished from a bar during a birthday celebration. His body was found 14 days later in a creek directly behind the bar.
Wow.
So he disappeared, and they went searching for him. 14 days later, he's in the creek directly behind the bar.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, and the area had been searched multiple times with canine units and volunteers. So they believe that the people watched him search and then, as a mocking gesture, put his body there. The next was William Hurley in 2009. We just got a few more. Boston, Massachusetts. He was a Navy veteran. He's 24. He left the Boston's Bruin game, called his fiancee for a ride, and vanished. So he had called his fiancee, come get me.
Wow.
And then he was found 6 days later in the Charles River. An autopsy noted blunt force trauma to his head, eye socket, and leg. Police believe he stumbled and fell. Gannon's team says no. They found there was drugs in his toxicology report, and it's a GHB, which is a drug often used in these kind of abductions.
Is that like
type thing.
Rohypnol? Is that like the date rape drug?
Yeah,
or
kind
something?
of,
Okay.
yeah. So now there was kind of a stop. That was 2009, kind of subsided. Then all of a sudden there was a second wave that hit in 2014. First up was Paul Kuchu from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He was a 22-year-old ICU nurse who vanished from Southside Pittsburgh after watching a football game with friends. His body was covered 3 months later in the Ohio River, roughly 100 miles downstream near Wheeling, West Virginia, and his death remains ruled as undetermined.
Wow.
So, next was Dakota James, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 23. He was a student who, after a night out in downtown Pittsburgh, his body was found 40 days later in the Ohio River. His case was heavily featured in a 2019 TV investigation, and his body showed a lack of decomposition for someone who would have been in the water for 40 days.
Gotcha.
So he disappeared for 40 days, found in the Ohio River. They believe he was killed, thrown.
Must have put him. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then we go. It stopped again in 2017. Then in 2022, Jason Bloom was found in Lake Michigan after vanishing from downtown nightlife in Chicago. Next was Peter Salvino in Chicago, and he was a Northwestern doctorate student found after he left a party and he was gone. Christoph Ziesbert, 2022. So now 2022, there's a big hit. And then he was a 21-year-old Polish businessman found in Lake Michigan after leaving a holiday party. Then we jump back to 2020 in Texas. Jason Landry, director of who worked with autistic children. He vanished near water under highly strange circumstances, leaving his clothes behind. And then there was a bunch of clusters in around Austin, Texas. A guy named Jason John, Clifton Axel. Both of these guys disappeared from Rainy Street and were recovered from the lake, which then sparked the Rainy Street Ripper moniker in Texas. So
Wow.
but it all very similar. And all of them, they said at some point there was like a smiley face graffiti found nearby.
Yeah. And they're all, like there's a pattern of the parties.
Yeah.
Right? So word to the kids out there, no parties. It's not good. Too dangerous.
Well, never leave a party, and I tell my kids that, and I tell just anyone that, never leave a party alone. Like never go anywhere alone. And especially if you've been drinking too much, never go anywhere alone.
Yeah.
You always have someone with you. Even if you're using an Uber, although I mean Uber, they track those cars, but you never know. Just always, and always if you have a find me thing on your phone, always have that turned on. So that's
I agree.
So,
but it's a mystery. I mean, I agree. I don't know if there's a lot of debunking to be done. I think
it all happened.
It all happened, and there is a pattern.
Yeah. Do you think like the theory is that it's a group of people like this?
Yeah.
So that, which is interesting because there was a TV show a while back. I can't remember. It's called The Following, and it was with Kevin Bacon. It's a very interesting show where Kevin Bacon was actually the cop, and I cannot remember the guy. Like I've seen him in other stuff. He played the serial killer. And basically, he was kind of like a Charles Manson type of dude.
Gotcha.
And he convinced people to do the killing.
Yeah.
And Kevin Bacon's character was trying to get this guy because he knew he was behind it all, but he was like, I'm just an author.
Right.
But he was an evil twit. Like, so he'd write these books that were twisted serial killer, and he had these people who just loved him, and he convinced them to do these things. So is there a evil benevolent or malevolent, not benevolent, malevolent person out there convincing people to go kill these people? Or is it just the people die, or are they falling in the water?
I mean, what are the cities? Are the cities close to each other? It's all over.
Well, it seems like because the patterns seem to be, it'd be like you had those ones that all happened within a few weeks of each other, but it was in one part of the country,
right? And
then you go and it'd be another part of the country.
Gotcha.
And so you could kind of see how that happened. There was Holmes was his last name. I can't remember his first name, but he was a serial killer back in the early back in like when Chicago had the World's Fair. And there's a book out there called The White City, which was about this case. Basically, that's the World's Fair. They made this beautiful city. It was all white stone or whatever.
Right.
Well, what this guy had done is he had built this, is basically called the Murder Castle or the Murder Hotel. And it's like people would go into this hotel and they would never get out. Yeah. And it was like if you've seen like Jigsaw, right? Like it's kind of that's what all these the people think. Oh, where did they get this idea for? It's like, well, it's based on this real guy who did it,
right?
And he built these buildings, and people weren't in. They were tortured and just killed. And he was a doctor, and what he was doing is after he killed them, he was skinning them and then selling the skeletons to universities.
Oh my god!
Because back then they used real skeletons.
Real skeletons, yeah.
And so he had this whole market. And the other thing he was doing was he would get insurance on these people, convince them to sign these insurance things, and he was the person who got the insurance money.
Oh my gosh.
So he would sell their skeletons, claim the insurance,
right? And
what finally clicked was an insurance person was like, this guy's, how's all the people are vanishing, or like, because it would be like after a few years they're gone,
right?
They must be dead.
Right.
So he would claim the insurance. And so that some insurance guy figured out, and basically this guy had been killing people around the country, but then this hotel was where his downfall because he stayed in one spot. So he traveled around the country for a long time.
He got away with it
for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then, so is this a similar thing? Are they traveling, or is it like a group, or like you said, is there a guy who's like, okay, you guys are activated now. I want you to do this for me.
Yeah.
And he gets these group of people to work together. We got 4. Okay, now Pennsylvania, your turn. Yeah.
Wow, but it seems a lot like you would have to have people that want to do this, and that wait to be told to do it. I feel like maybe it's one guy that travels, or maybe travels with a buddy. I don't know. They're like serial brothers.
Serial brothers.
Serial brothers in crime. I don't know. Yeah.
It's kind of mice and men, only they're not killing bunnies. They're killing people. And
I don't know, but it is weird. Like I think there's enough of a pattern there. I don't know that you can debunk it. It seems like that's actually true. Those are the facts, and they are kind of in the same area for a period of time. So I'm gonna say maybe it's not bunk. This could be a first.
This could be a real.
Yeah, it could be a real thing. We can't prove it though. So that's the thing, we don't know.
And I think those two are still trying to.
Yeah.
And I did find it interesting that a couple of the cases, or one of the cases for sure, they said it was accidental. Then later they came back and said, no, this was a homicide.
Right, that was kind of weird.
But then they can't find the guy. And then, like I said, like I've seen shows and I've seen the 2 guys interviewed, and some of the ones that they point out is like, some of these people didn't drown. They were found in the water, but they didn't drown.
Yeah.
And you're like, because there was no fluid in the lungs. There was that like, or like the fact that one guy was found 40 days later on the Ohio River down the thing. Right. And had he spent 40 days in the river, he would have been all bloated and gross and nasty, but he wasn't.
Right.
And so, I mean, there you go. So I'm saying it's real, and you're saying.
I'm saying I think it's real. I think something's going on. It does seem like, who knows if it's a band of people or one or whatever, but like clearly there's a pattern. Mm-hmm. I think it might be real. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I wish I could have debunked it though. I mean, we could try to argue that and say like, well, what are the odds that Smiley Face is there? So I guess it could be in some cities a common graffiti thing, and we could argue that. Yeah. Or
maybe the connection is there. The guys are doing to throw them off, and they find a place that's already got a smiley face, and they're dumping the body.
Let's do it here. Yeah. I don't know. That's
or the malevolent guy goes and makes a smiley face and tells them to put it there.
That's true. I need to meet the malevolent guy, or maybe I don't. I don't know. That seems like it could be bad.
Well, he's here today. Come on down.
You guys can't see him? I don't think
he left. He didn't want to be revealed.
He escaped. Yeah. So.
Dang it. We should have done that at the beginning.
We should have. We didn't think that through. What do you think we're going to find here in this undisclosed location? We'll see more smiley faces now that the guy left. I'm a little concerned now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Like we'll it seems that it goes and then it stops, and then there's like a 3-year pause.
Yeah.
So the last one I think was 2024.
Okay.
So 2000
we're good maybe till next year.
Yeah, 2027, 28 we may see it.
You heard it here first. We will also make sure to tell you what Mountain Dew is released that year and see if it's related.
Like a Smiley Punch, it's like
we're like, we don't want that.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen, folks, in the future. You heard it here, Tom and Ken show. We do predict the future routinely.
Yeah, and we're right most of the time.
We are. Yeah, we're like 100% right, like 10% of the time.
I'm Nostra. He's Damus.
That's right.
And so
we're going to put out a shingle and charge people for this device, or you can catch our episodes free online.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we haven't started charging yet.
So I guess that gets us to him. What do you want to do next week? Do you have an idea? I'm building a database, and I want to send it to you.
I cannot wait.
And I've been working on it, and I want to send it to you and have you look it over, and then pick, and then you can tell me which one. I love
it. Have we done a cryptid in a while? I don't know if we have.
No, we haven't.
We should probably do a cryptid. You're the master of cryptids. For those of you who don't know, this guy may have written some books about cryptids.
Okay, if you want to do a cryptid, I have a good one that's a crazy story.
Okay.
And I don't think we ever dealt with it. We did do the Van Meter Visitor.
That was really interesting.
This is another one that's kind of weird. Okay. It's called the Mud... I'm going to butcher it, but it's a mud monster.
A mud monster.
But it's basically a Bigfoot. But
Okay.
it's it happened just like maybe I think in the 1970s.
Okay.
So
not too far.
Not too far, but I think it was in Illinois. Pretty sure it was either in Indiana or Illinois, one of the icon states, right there in flyover country.
Yeah.
So so let's do that.
right.
Murphysville Mud Monster.
Murphysville Mud Monster. Let's do
So
it.
we will get into that next time.
This database is amazing.
Yeah,
Like the,
I don't-
I
yeah.
can. We should.
It's called my brain.
Your brain.
So, yeah.
Do you think we can make this available for a select members of the listening audience? Like to compile it and for I think a
And you know what? I would like to take some if we get some listener questions.
Yes.
For Tom. So if
I
they want to send in some listener questions for Tom, we will have Tom answer them.
I will debunk anything.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not even here. So it's great. So I think that's what we'll do, and we'll download. We can maybe provide the download for the database so people can
look it over.
See what they think.
Yeah. And until next time,
I'm Tom, the debunker.
I'm Ken, the bunker. We'll see ya.
See you later.
Counter to intelligence.
Counter to Intelligence is an Ends of the Earth production. Please be advised that Tom and Ken have absolutely no idea what they are talking about. No theories or conspiracies were harmed in the making of this podcast. This program is intended for entertainment purposes only.